Newcastle 1, Arsenal 2. What a game. I have to say, from the get-go, I think Arsenal were pressing the whole time. We were on the front foot. Literally from the second the game kicked off, we were on the front foot. I do feel throughout the game we were a little bit unlucky not to capitalise on a couple of our chances. But I think... So I'll take it all the way back from the start. I think the way that Arteta set up for this game, it was more bold, more optimistic, especially with starting Eze in the 10. I think that's what this game needed. I think that's what a game plan for this specific match against Newcastle needed. I think at St James's, don't think we've won there in at least like minimum 2 years, maybe even 3. So we needed to go into this game really bold, and boy, did we leave it late, I'll be honest. I've taken down some notes on my thoughts on the game, so I'll take it step by step. I think the first thing that I noted was in the 14th minute, and it was the penalty decision for Arsenal. So the ref gave a penalty because, Gyökeres is through on goal and then gets taken out by the Newcastle goalkeeper. But then it went to VAR and it got taken back, and I don't know why. I think from what I could understand, apparently Nick Pope touched the ball. I mean, you could barely even see on VAR whether he touched it or not. But apparently, let's say he touched the ball, whatever. He still took Gyökeres out. I don't understand. He took the guy out cleanly. He took him out. Even if he touched the ball a little bit, he took the damn guy out. How's the ref going back on his decision for that? I find that crazy. I don't think that was a mistake by the referee. I think his initial decision to give a penalty for that, I think that was justified. I don't know why that even went to VAR and why they gave it the other way, but apparently they did. Generally in the first half as well, I think we started on the front foot. We played with direction. We played with a certain feeling to our football, which I haven't felt in a while. I think we've been having a little bit of a mental block against Newcastle recently. They've been somewhat of like a kind of like bogey team. We haven't been able to beat them in our last like 3 or 4 matches or however long. So we really needed this win against them. And yeah, I feel like the team set up from the get-go was good. Nearly the whole first half we were on the front foot pushing forward. So I think although we were 1-0 down in the first half. Was it the first half they scored in? Yeah, it was. So the first half, I still think we played well, to be honest, and we were really unlucky not to come away with at least a goal. And especially to be down at half-time, I think that was a bit harsh. But look, if you don't put your chances in the back of the net, you can't complain. Then looking at the Newcastle goal, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Volteme, the Newcastle striker, he put a hand on Gabriel on his back, and Gabriel, he was making the most of it, and he went down, and him and several of the Arsenal players were calling for a foul for that. I watched it back, and that was never a foul. I don't know what Gabriel was thinking, to be honest. If you challenged him for the ball, you never know. He probably wouldn't have scored that. You never know. So we could have gone into half-time at 0-0. But Gabriel, he must have felt a hand on his back, so he went down. But there was never enough in that, and that's coming from an Arsenal fan. So, yeah, a little bit, I wouldn't say embarrassing from Gabriel, but he needs to do better in that decision. And I think was poor from him because, why do you need to go down there, mate? You did not get pushed, and you could potentially stop him from scoring. Next thing I have in my notes is that on the 40th minute, so this is, I don't think you'll hear this from any other fan, but in the 40th minute, Gyökeres went through on goal, and in the end, nothing came from it. So he was around the halfway line, no one ahead of him, but he, very direct, just carried on running all the way to the Newcastle goal. Nothing came from it. He didn't even have a shot, but it was weird. As an Arsenal fan, it felt quite refreshing for me because for the past 2, 3, 4 years, our strikers have been so I don't know, so passive and negative. When no one's in front of them, they either turn around and pass it backwards, or they try hold it up and play like a sideways ball. We've lacked that kind of directiveness, or just a striker that just wants to go through on goal. And you know what? Nothing came from the Gyökeres chance, but he created something out of nothing. And he was very direct. And to be honest, it was just something really refreshing to see. And again, he didn't score this match, but to be honest, yeah, just so refreshing to see someone that just wants to run at goal and get a shot away. And yeah, it wasn't his best game. He had quite a few chances. I actually think Gyökeres should have scored in the match. But I'm just really happy with, his general play, his hold-up play, the way he menaces defenders, the way he's so direct and always looking to get a shot away. It's something that we need. And to be honest, I really do think he is such a good striker, and what a signing. Then we move into the second half, and again, I think we really dominated that second half. We limited the Newcastle chances quite a lot. I can't really remember too many Newcastle chances, maybe like a couple shots away. I think they hit the bar where it was offside. But other than that, I think we controlled the tempo of the game, we controlled the possession of the game, we controlled the ball. And it was a type of game that it needed that first Arsenal goal for it to open up. And I think after we got that first goal from Mikel Merino, what a header and what a time to get that in. We really needed that. I think we scored, in like the 85th minute or something, the first goal. It's a type of game where once we get that first goal, we then are able to create a couple more opportunities, because then that forces Newcastle to come out a bit. And that's exactly what happened. Mikel Merino came on, got that goal. What a clutch player. Honestly, I think there are a couple players in that Arsenal squad. They always seem to perform better when they come off the bench, and I think Mikel Merino is one of them. When he comes off, he always somehow he creates an impact. Same with Trossard as well. How did he not score in that first half? I do not know. He had like 2 or 3 really good chances. He hit the post. I mean, Declan Rice laid it up on a plate for him. So yeah, Trossard is one of them other players. He just makes an impact when he comes off the bench. He's not a starting player. I'm sorry. Another thing with the Mikel Merino goal, I noticed that the Arsenal players didn't actually celebrate for too long. A lot of them were kind of like gesturing to get back to the halfway line. So that was really good, because compared to last week, we were celebrating that City goal at home, that equaliser to City, like we just won the damn Champions League. So to see that in this game, actually, they didn't really celebrate. I mean, a couple fist pumps in the air, whatever. But to see that they ran straight back to the halfway point of the pitch to get the game restarted, that was really good, because, I mean, in the end, it led to us scoring our second goal. And then Gabriel, man, from corners. Was it a corner? I think it was a corner. I think he scored from a corner in the 98th minute, or 95th minute, sorry. Was it 98th or 9? I think it was 95th, 96th. One of them minutes. It was one of the last kicks of the game. I mean, he's such a clutch defender, especially in the box, and his aerial ability is unmatched. Gabriel was honestly, when it comes to overall, defensive and kind of attacking quality as well, it's weird to say that a defender has attacking quality, but he's such a threat in the box. He is unmatched in the Premier League. I mean, him and Van Dijk, I don't think anyone comes close to them. Obviously Saliba, but I think Gabriel was better, to be honest, especially with the aerial threat that he presents. And he's just been so clutch for us the last couple seasons. So, yeah, what a header, what a moment. We really needed that goal against Newcastle. And now when we look at the Premier League table, we're only 2 points behind Liverpool, because obviously they lost against Palace yesterday. We won now, so Liverpool are on 15 points, we're on 13 points, and it's exactly what we needed, because, I mean, if we didn't get that win, points just begin to accumulate, and then later on in the season, it just makes it so much harder to get back into the title race, even if you're in the title race. And then if we just look at the match stats, so, I mean, we dominated Newcastle in their own ground. They had 8 shots, we had 20 shots. We had 64% possession. We had nearly 500 passes. They had 271 passes. They had 7 corners. We had 12 corners. I mean, just an all-round really good performance. And again, it all comes back to how Mikel Arteta started that team out and the way we set up and the intent that we had. It wasn't a defensive intent. For example, what we saw against City and Liverpool, we had the intent to go forward, and I mean, look, it paid off. I know we left it really late. I think throughout the whole game we were just really unlucky not to put away our chances, and in another game a lot of them chances do go in and we're, for example, 2 or 3 up before half time. That wasn't for this match though. What happened. We came away with a win regardless of what minute that winning goal came in. It meant that we won, so that's the main thing. Big kudos, however you want to, I think kudos to Mikel Arteta for, setting up the way he did and not being defensive and scared and having that mindset of what happens if we lose or don't win. But no, we went with a much more attacking and creative team, which we needed, and we came away with the win. And yeah, on to our next game. Let me know your thoughts in the comments for what you thought about this game. I think some of the refereeing was a little bit half-half. I think a couple of the refereeing decisions I wasn't too happy with. But honestly, really buzzing about this game. Leave your comments and thoughts about the game down below. Let me know. And yeah, until the next one.